The Surfing Violinist presents Based Bollywood, a series exploring Bollywood's celebration of toxic masculinity and its endless supply of song and dance numbers. Today we examine the 2008 coming-of-age rom-com Jaane Tu, Ya Jaane Na. Whether you know it or not, toxic masculinity is evergreen, my love. Jaane Tu, Ya Jaane Na is a coming-of-age rom-com following standard Bollywood conventions with song and dance numbers but marketed to a younger audience. The film uses the conceit of a group of friends telling a new member the story of our hero and heroine's love while they wait for them at the Mumbai International Airport, where the climax of that couple's love story occurred. True to Bollywood form, the film is drawing inspiration from another film, in this case Love Actually, the bookend and climax being conveniently similar. But Jaane Tu, Ya Jaane Na trades in the sappy sentiment of middle school love for two pivotal moments in our protagonists' lives that actually work better for me than any moment in Love Actually. This is one of Bollywood's weaknesses that they somehow managed to turn into a strength. To me, Bollywood is the middle finger to intellectual property law. The entire industry is one exercise in plagiarism after another. But no matter how faithful they are in their plagiarism, they manage to make something new every time. And all the legalese arguments to the contrary, it doesn't hurt the rights holder. Western copyright law, at least when it comes to creative work, is a sham and needs to be nullified. And Jaane Tu, Ya Jaane Na is a good example of why. Jaane Tu, Ya Jaane Na means, roughly translated, whether you know it or not, and comes from a chart-topping song in a 1973 Bollywood film called Aa Gale Lag Ja. Before diving into the musical number I'm covering today, we're going to take a bit of a trip down memory lane because one of the purposes of this whole based Bollywood endeavor is to help outsiders make sense of Bollywood. And you just can't do that without an understanding of the rich network of connections Bollywood has with its past. In 2002, I took my first trip to India. Cycle rickshaws were still in full swing. Auto rickshaws, tuk-tuks were common, but in smaller cities more of a luxury. Phones were even more of a luxury. But sometime between my first and second trips to India, cell phones blew up. By 2011, it was not uncommon to see a cycle rickshaw driver carrying a mobile phone, and almost invariably that cycle rickshaw driver would be listening on speakerphone to one of two things: cricket matches or classic Bollywood songs. In India, they call these songs Evergreen. Not in Hindi, in English, Evergreen. There's a common trope that era of Bollywood started, and it was the sight of two lovebirds tromping around in the snow surrounded by evergreen trees, the most iconic of which was Shami Kapoor and Jungli. And you don't need Hindi or any understanding of India to get this. America had James Dean, too cool for school, and Bollywood would get that later to some extent with Amitabh Bachchan's angry young men characters, but Bollywood has never shaken off this dude. He's evergreen. This is cool. This is true Chad, a dude sliding down on his belly in the snow, screaming his love at the top of his lungs. I mean, if you want to try to understand Bollywood, this is as good a start as any. Yahoo! Raw dude being dude. And yeah, his lovebird plays coy a bit, but it's just such a great scene because she's not a prima donna. She's sliding down the snow with him. This is based Bollywood at its most primal and somehow not being a jerk at the same time. Bollywood's dilemma is real. It's caught between the rock and hard place of a language everyone hates, Hindi, a manufactured mud of a language combining Sanskrit, Urdu, Bengali, and a pidgin of over 1,000 unique languages and dialects into some kind of thing that will make sense to the largest amount of people. All the while, Hindi has to sit in the shadow of the world's most pervasive linguistic fungus, the almighty English. Bollywood songs have to be primal. They have to speak to the heart. They have to cut through the religious, social, cultural, ethnic tensions that threaten a civil war nuclear option hiding behind every tenuous interaction between communities with bad blood in their past. In America, after 2016 and late cursed decade of the 2010s, if you can't understand that feeling, I don't think you've been paying attention. The ability to make that kind of art that manages to dance through a convoluted myriad of competing dialectics, that's what Evergreen Bollywood did. It was a unifying force that had to come up with a shared language, not just cinematic, but emotional, primal. So any understanding of Bollywood really has to start with the music, because you can be a hardcore Muslim, but chances are you like some songs that have real Hindu meaning. And you can be a die-hard Hindu nationalist, but you probably sing some Urdu, the primary language spoken by Indian Muslims, thanks to Bollywood. The lyrics of these songs are just opaque to an outsider when you actually try to translate them. One minute they can be so painfully on the nose, and then the next, we're quite literally talking high Shakespearean Sanskrit in a pop song. It's wild, y'all. One more rabbit trail before we come back to the actual film we're discussing. Those evergreen dance scenes that Shami Kapoor established in the collective subconscious? Well, wouldn't you know it, the song our film takes its title from, Jaane Tu, Ya Jaane Na, has one of those as its dance scene in the original film. Evergreen, Jaane Tu, Ya Jaane Na. Whether you know it or not, love is evergreen, baby. Now back to the film Jaane Tu, Ya Jaane Na. I truly like this film a lot. It's a bit cheesy at times, but it never takes itself too seriously, and our two leads are just so effervescent. And as rom-com formulaic as the film is, it feels so Indian to me, mainly because of this convoluted relationship that the modern Indian youth has to delicately navigate when it comes to preserving tradition and progressing personally. The musical number I want to shine a light on in this episode is not any particular song in the movie itself. It's more of a traditional motion picture soundtrack orchestral bit building up to the climax of the film. It starts about 7 minutes from the end with Jay, our protagonist, being presented a horse. Starting out with a droning punk rock style bass guitar line that grows over time, building on itself into a full-fledged symphonic score. Our hero, Imran Khan as Jay, has been a mama's boy as far as his mom is concerned, but having acted violently in defense of his girlfriend's honor, he has been put in jail for the night. His girlfriend is taking a late-night flight to the US, and he only has a few hours to express his undying love for her before she's gone for college, not to return for quite some time. For Jay, the distance will prove an insurmountable obstacle due to his financial situation. This may be his last chance for a meaningful proposal. This time, good old boy Bombay corruption works in our hero's favor, and through an unexpected but inevitable coincidence, he gets access to a horse. The way this scene ties up all our protagonist's dilemmas in one operatic action scene is the stuff that celluloid dreams are made of. It takes a proven formula, but if you've been to India, every nuance of this chase action scene feels so Indian. They've taken inspiration, sure, but made it bespoke. This shot right here, I could do a whole video essay on. It's a reactionary manifesto. Low time preference return to tradition tortoise beats compulsive consumer currency hare. Post 9/11 worldwide airport security became far more stringent, of course, and it'll be very easy to play killjoy and refuse to suspend disbelief throughout the scene. May I remind you that motion picture fiction is not always trying to be real. This is a ballet scene. Accept it as such and enjoy the show. Because musically what's going on here is a truly multicultural, cinematic, symphonic adaptation of so many sources of tradition. Once the symphonic climax is cued and our hero is just moments away from reaching his goal, he is brought low and the harsh reality of a battery of trained guns stands between him and his true love. What is left for a Bollywood hero to do but sing? But rather than indulge in a swelling score here, we get Imran Khan actually singing, cracked voice and all, no playback singer, crooning his love with the film title, Jaane Ya Jaane Na, that old evergreen Bollywood love song. And say what you will about believability, but I just love how all the soldiers and police play this bit. This scene would make no sense in America, but the shared cinematic language of Bollywood's history cuts through bureaucratizing civilization. In the climax in denouement of Love Actually, a politician played by Hugh Grant waxes eloquent about how great airports are. It turns into this post 9/11 news on the march propaganda piece for airports. In case you didn't get the memo, airports suck. They are a necessary evil at best, one of the most soul-crushing, bureaucratically mismanaged enterprises in modern history. A testament to what our future will look like if quote-unquote safety and quote-unquote comfort continue to be defined by centrally planned sterile meat market demagogues and sanctimonious tycoons who mistake their one-world government monopoly on common man air travel for divine right, who have exchanged noblesse oblige for let them eat cake indifference as they fly everywhere in their charter planes and leave the masses to bicker in cattle cars. The average movie viewer likes spy movies, James Bond, Mission Impossible, and Jason Bourne, because these guys flaunt the rules of international travel. They parkour their way through henpecking bureaucracies, always a step ahead of Leviathan, but always while wielding a weapon. In Ya Jaane Na, our hero charges the gates of hell without even a water pistol. He faces the heart of darkness with nothing but a song, and as in every true rite of passage, his fate hangs in the balance at the mercy of God himself. David faces Goliath, but this time, he doesn't even have a sling and a rock. He's living on a song and a prayer. This is a proposal, not only for the love of his life, but for his maverick identity as a perennial man reclaiming his father's warrior heredity in a technocratic world that lectures him to move on. But unlike James Bond, he's found a third path between the institution and violence against it. He's adapted his father's rich history and made it his own. He will use violence in its proper place against another man who pretends to exploit what is his, but he has learned that the modern world requires agility and ingenuity to navigate the challenges it presents. The future is a dance scene, not a gunfight, but he's still going to ride into battle on his horse with no concern for his own well-being. At the end of his crooning, we do get a bit of an instrumental reprise of A.R. Rahman's Kahin To, love song used earlier in the film, which is a bit of a melancholy song but turned major key for this reunion. I love this movie, I love this sequence, I love both the songs featured in this climax as well as the orchestral build that leads up to them. Based Bollywood is not just a celebration of locker room talk, it's a celebration of what's been forgotten, the masculine rite of passage that modern society refuses to acknowledge as necessary. Shut up, boy, and get back in your seat. Take this medicine, you got ADD. Know your place, you middle-class schlub. Well, sorry to disappoint you, but my love is evergreen. For more based Bollywood content, click the subscribe button. I'll be doing these once a week. Let me know in the comments any songs that you think would live up to a based Bollywood video essay examination.